plenty of switch as well. Joe, are you ready for this top 4 match?
Well, the players are ready. They're shaking hands, so we're going to go straight into it here. Looks like Alex is kicking things off. He has his Zorua start. Philip with the Jirachi. Alex is already holding on to a second Zorua here and a Nest Ball, so pretty reasonable stuff from him so far. Also Pokemon Communication, so he's got plenty of options from turn 1 here.
Yeah, the Zoroark decks are known for their consistency. They are, I would say, a little less consistent than in previous formats when you would go for that turn 1, bridge it, and set yourself up with 3 basic Pokemon on the first turn. We saw briefly builds with Professor Elm's Lecture trying to mimic that sort of thing, but looks like these days it's all about Nest Ball, playing out as many cards as you can, following it up with Lily to refill your hand, because getting an energy attachment on the first turn is so crucial to power up that Lycanroc GX.
Yeah, like you said, just the format has formed around this, and Zoroark is always trying to stay relevant. So in order to stay relevant, oftentimes turn 1 attachments on the likes of a Rockruff can be a big deal. And also, of course, dealing with these Jirachis, trying to Nest Ball for the likes of Alolan Grimer, which has more than 60 hit points, so it wouldn't be a Professor Elm's target, is also a big temptation. So that's why you're so often seeing Lily as the main engine here. There is always that sort of fear that you may end up just drawing a few blanks after a Lily, but it seems as though Alex is going to be able to lower his hand size here to get a huge hand.
Looks like not a bad start for your top 4 match. And yeah, when you're playing a Zoroark deck, all you really want to do is get as many Zorua in play as you can, perhaps Ditto Prism Star, and in this matchup, get down the Alolan Grimer so you can stop your opponent's abilities, things like Jirachi, the Tapu Koko Prism Star, even things like Tapu Lele GX can be useful later in the game. Now that Ditto Prism Star can be somewhat of a liability because Philip does play that Wobbuffet. That Shady Tail ability does prevent Ditto from evolving with that Almighty Evolution ability, so we may see that kind of counterplay happen and basically turn Ditto into a 40 HP Pokemon that has no text on it.
Looks like Alex was thinking about benching a Zorua, and now he's thinking twice about it. I think he had his plan sort of mapped out. He was hoping to use this Ultra Ball so he could get an attachment onto a Rockruff instead this turn before using his Lily, but he then sort of skipped a beat and saw Zorua in his hand and just benched it instantly. Sometimes that can happen. I think there might be a little bit of discussion going on here to see if he's able to continue his turn here, but otherwise he's still got a reasonable Lily. He's still got a turn 1 attachment and an Ultra Ball, so he is going to shuffle up here. Looks like the Zorua is staying on the bench here.
Yeah, I don't think you want to throw away Zorua.
Yeah.
You just want that down. And it is the difference between a Lily for 8 and a Lily for 5, but he can still attach energy to the Ditto Prism Star and then Lily for 6 cards. So
this makes the Wobbuffet look even better for Philip now that he's elected to attach to this Ditto as well. He does eventually draw into a Rockruff as well as another Zorua here, so a pretty ideal start for him. He's going to be able to fill his bench if he wishes, and also has some backup draw supporters and Ultra Balls, so it's a pretty solid start from Alex.
Yep, and he could go ahead and Ultra Ball for the Alolan Grimer in this situation. You always want to have that dual threat, have the Ditto or the Alolan Grimer, both of which can evolve into Alolan Muck, just because that power of alchemy is so crucial for slowing down a lot of these Jirachi-based decks. A lot of their power comes from being able to constantly filter through their deck, find the right trainer cards, and set up big attacks turn after turn. And what happened in the top 8 match between Alex and Rahul was Alex got Alolan Muck out, and then all of a sudden, Rahul's deck completely shut down. He was just passing the turn because he couldn't Stellar Wish or use any of his abilities anymore.
Yeah, even shutting down that Dance of the Ancients, Tapu Koko, Prism Star is obviously huge as well. Maybe rushing the opponent if they can only have one target of Lightning Energy to attach onto here. So as soon as you get that Alolan Muck down, it really does limit what Philip is able to sort of come up with. We are seeing him. He's looking at an Ultra Ball right now, a few options in his hand, as well as a Lily for himself here. So both players pretty much with ideal starts already.
Yep, just trying to figure out which cards to throw away with this Ultra Ball. I would guess a Lightning Energy is going away for sure, but what else does he want to throw away? He does have Energy Switch, some crucial cards that might be helpful for combos later, but actually he's just going to opt to Stellar Wish first, see if he finds anything good, and yeah, Mysterious Treasure is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good option. It means he only has to discard one, and that was the only card he wants to get rid of if he wants to use Mysterious Treasure, so this makes life a little bit more easy for him. It also means, you know, he had the option to just simply find a target that he was happy to Ultra Ball away off the Stellar Wish as well, so a good outcome or a bad outcome, as long as it was a trainer, Philip was happy, and now he's eyeing up this Mysterious Treasure for himself here.
Yep, and you know what mysterious treasure can search for, and that is Oricorio. You could go ahead and use Vital Dance, get 2 more Lightning Energy in his hand, and Ultra Ball them away. Yeah,
Wow.
this is, like you said, this is one of the cards that makes his deck so consistent and so consistently able to get energy in the discard pile.
Philip does swear by it, and it means that he can do an Ultra Ball of 2 Lightning Energies away and then find some targets to put the 3rd Lightning Energy that's currently in his hand onto as well. So he is going to go for that Vital Dance, go ahead and scout 2 Lightning Energies out of his deck thanks to this Mysterious Treasure pickup from the Stellar Wish, and he can start powering up his main attacker here with an Ultra Ball. I have to assume he's going to go for something like a Pikachu and Zekrom at this point, and he's eyeing it up straight away.
Yep, this is not a toolbox version of the deck. This is not a I can be a Zapdos deck or a Pikachu and Zekrom deck. This is a Pikachu and Zekrom deck through and through. The kind that plays 4 energy switches and just wants to full blitz as quickly as possible and force the opponent to respond.
Here comes the Energy Attachment and Choice Band. He's got a Lily for 6 cards here, looking to find maybe that Dance of the Ancients, Coco, Prism Star. He's also found Thunder Mountain.
He's got plenty of stuff to work with here.
Oh my goodness, it might be the fabled turn 1 full blitz. It looks like it's on the cards here.
Yeah, he absolutely can do it. It's just a question of does he want to?
Yeah.
So one of the tech cards in Alex's deck that makes this matchup so much different is that new Lycanroc GX from the Team Up expansion. It gives you several different options to knock out Pikachu and Zekrom GX. The number one being if you power up its Accelerock attack, you don't need a Choice Band to knock out a Pikachu and Zekrom. It does 120 damage, so you can just straight up knock out a Pikachu and Zekrom. So it is very risky for Philip here to just go in and full blitz if he doesn't have a backup plan.
Yeah, I think he only has 1 Pokemon search card in hand, and it has to be for this Tapu Koko if he wants to full blitz at all. So it means he's putting all the eggs in this one Pikachu and Zekrom.
Looks like he's going for it, though. His deck only has 1 mode.
And yeah, looks that's going to be the case. Dance of the Ancients is going off. A couple Lightning Energies onto the Oricorio and the Pikachu and Zekrom.
Yeah.
Only real saving grace is that he has energy switches for maybe backup attackers if this was to go down, but it would be devastating for him.
Yeah, if he had the Wobbuffet, this would be a much better play because then the Ditto Prism Star wouldn't be able to evolve. But as it stands, it might actually be better to just pass the turn, as weird as that is.
I agree.
If you knock out the Zorua, then you just give the Ditto a free pass to come active, evolve into Lycanroc, and destroy your Pikachu and Zekrom. But in this situation, Alex is going to need to find some way to switch his Zorua. And I think the only way he can do that in his deck is Guzma, or he does play 1 Tate and Liza. But he's going to have to use his supporter for the turn, and then he'll have to use this Lycanroc GX with a Choice Band. So, yeah, the Pikachu and Zekrom is safe.
Yeah, it felt like too big of a risk to go for. I'm sure at this point Philip does know the ins and outs of Alex's deck list and is aware of that Twilight Eyes Lycanroc. So we are going to see Alex kick off his turn. He's just going to instantly attach to his own Rockruff on the bench here, making sure he has multiple threats ready for Philip's Pikachu and Zekrom. He's going to get a Cynthia for 6 cards, looking to find, again, that Alolan Muck's such a big deal for limiting Philip's options and maybe start trading as well. Alolan Muck's there. I don't see many...
I'm looking for Zoroark GX.
Yeah.
That's the important one. And, yeah, I don't see it. I see a Nest Ball, which is worthless.
Yep.
He finds everything except Zoroark, and he actually doesn't evolve
Wow.
into a Alolan Muck. Wow.
That's a really interesting decision. I don't even think... Is it the only Pokemon in his hand? Maybe he's hoping for Pokemon communication outs? But no, he's got lots of Pokemon in his hand.
No, his hand is terrible, so he's hoping that one of his Pokemon gets knocked out so he can Wonder Tag.
Yeah, that's what he's looking for here.
Yes, if he plays the Alolan Muck, it cuts off his own Tapu Lele.
Sure.
But yeah, this is a miserable spot for Alex. If Philip were able to Guzma out the Lycanroc or even the Rockruff and get a knockout, he could jump out to a huge lead here.
And it looks a lot less risky now that he's able to find himself a Nest Ball as well to get some targets to full blitz onto. So he's looking in a better spot. The patient approach definitely paying off for Philip here. dodging a pretty awkward, well, it was an awkward Cynthia for Alex, and it's going to buy Philip some time here, which is all he needs really to start pushing ahead with Pikachu and Zekrom. As soon as you give this deck an inch, it'll really go a mile.
If you're Philip here, I mean, you're probably going to full blitz. Would you rather have another Pikachu and Zekrom powered up, which can, I mean, it gives your opponent an opportunity to win the game in 2 knockouts, or would you prefer something like Zeraora GX, which only gives up 2 prizes but is a little weaker?
Yeah, I mean, the Zeraora is prized for him right now. So he's all in on the Pikachu and Zekrom.
Let's just say hypothetically.
Hypothetically, I do like the Zeraora as an option there. But looks like we're going to see the... we're just going to see... I think there may not have been a shuffle before the Stellar Wish. Yeah.
He did go to draw his top card. I'm not sure if the judges will consider that, drawing a card when he shouldn't. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure if he even saw the card, but I did.
Yeah, at least he stopped himself straight away. He was aware. He was like, oh, I remember this one. I've seen this card just a moment ago with my Stellar Wish.
All right, so it looks like we are going to get this resolved very shortly. And, the Ether Conservation Paradise area was on top of his deck, which might actually be somewhat important in this matchup. It would make it so that the Twilight Eyes Lycanroc doesn't get a one-hit knockout. It reduces the damage by 30, so it would be 30 damage short. But the judge is now shuffling up, and looks like Alex is going to be playing, or Philip will be playing this Lily, drawing some cards, and we will see a full blitz this turn.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the case once this is all resolved, and no doubt he's going to be stacking energy onto his back benched Pikachu and Zekrom as well, so he has that multiple threat in line. Only 1 prize for him this turn with this little Zorua, because he's obviously playing this Lily here. So it's not all rosy for him right now, but at the very least he's going to have multiple threats powered up on the board. He's already holding on to the likes of Electro Power for next turn as well, so he's not going to have a problem reaching, even if Alex is able to make a response. But it's really not great sending your 3 prize Pokemon into a non-GX attacker.
No, not really. It still doesn't feel like a great spot for Philip. I mean, he gets the first knockout, he gets a bunch of energy in play, but Alex already has those dual threats lined up. If he can power up that Lycanroc GX with a Choice Band, or even just use Dangerous Rogue GX, he can take 1 knockout on the first Pikachu and Zekrom, and then he has the other Rockruff already with an energy. If he can just do that 2 turns in a row, they give up 3 prizes each. That adds up to 6, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think the only gamble Philip's taking here is that he saw no Zoroarks last turn.
Yeah.
And that means that Alex can't find all those combinations, those choice bands, those continuous double color synergies, even looking for that next Lycanroc. So he's just hoping that the Cynthia was that poor that he's going to have this a window of opportunity to make one of these Pikachu and Zekrom stick.
And it looks like we're still waiting to get a final decision on what's going to happen here. It looks like the Stadium card was revealed to both players, but I'm not sure if a penalty was applied here. But we do see the Lily for 3 cards for Philip, and that will follow up with the full blitz. Now he does get a Lightning Energy onto his Pikachu and Zekrom on the bench. That's actually a pretty big deal. Now he can full blitz 3 onto the benched Pikachu and Zekrom, and that means next turn he could get Thunder Mountain Prism Star, attach the 5th energy, and actually go for what would be a game-winning, or not a game-winning Tag Bolt, but pretty close to it.
Sure.
Potentially knocking out both Lycanroc and the Rockruff on the bench.
And the Thunder Mountain's already in his hand, I believe, as well, so he's really there. He's really close to that Tag Bolt GX attack next turn, depending on how Alex responds here. He's got that bench spot open for his Tapu Lele 2-1 to tag him out of this spot. He may honestly just be using this Nest Ball to free up space in his hand and just not draw into those again. He has picked up a Zoroark GX return, I believe, as well.
Not a bad top deck at all. He does need to find some energy card this turn, though, to get a knockout. And it seems like that shouldn't be too difficult between Zoroark GX's trade and Tapu Lele GX's Wonder Tag, finding him something like a Cynthia.
There's even a Mallow option as well for him as well. Now that he has drawn into that Zoroark GX, there's Wonder Tag for Mallow. Simply trade and guarantee yourself double Color Synergy Choice Band. That would be a huge turn.
Yeah, and I think if you're Alex, you also want to try to evolve the Rockruff into Lycanroc this turn. You don't want to have the situation where Philip is able to Tag Bolt GX, knock out your Lycanroc and your Rockruff on the bench. If you can just evolve it into either one of those Lycanroc GX with the Twilight Eyes or the Bloodthirsty Eyes, you can prevent that play.
We are definitely going to... Oh, he's already holding Choice Band in hand as well, so he can do the whole trio here. He's even got the double colorless there as well. He's got everything he needs.
He's got it all.
This is going to be a huge turn. He's setting himself up perfectly here. A low and Muck comes down as well, denying any sort of let loose play as well. So he's not only set for this turn, but he's pretty much set for game.
Right, yeah. He's got Choice Band and double colorless in hand. He can Mallow. They could just get Lycanroc GX plus another energy, and you pretty much lock up the game.
That's exactly what he's done here. Mallow putting those to the top, and he can trade away the Oranguru. That's a useless card for him. Everything else is perfect. It's going to guarantee those draws, and yeah, this combination of Lycanrocs is so huge here. He's not going to Twilight Eyes. He knows that's not a problem.
Oh, no. Oh, he put down 2 double colorless energy instead of the Choice Band. Oh, no.
No, not like this.
Oh.
It was so perfectly laid out for him. Alex just playing too quickly there. A couple of jitters here from Alex.
That's so painful, too. He only had 2 cards in his hand.
What were the odds? That's so
50,
rough
50.
for him. Yes. Oh my goodness. Alex just had to take a moment, getting excited, knowing that he was so close to getting the game. Everything was locked up for him. But now there's this window of opportunity for Philip with that attachment of the second energy card that we all know that it was unintentional. We know what he was looking for. But
yeah, and
another sort of discussion for the judges.
I'll be curious to see what the judges rule here. I think it was pretty clear what his intent was, but his physical action of playing the cards was not even a legal play, and he announced his attack already.
That's the big one.
So I know this has already been a bit of a messy situation.
Ooh.
And now it's the question, can he switch which attack he was using? Because even if he can Dangerous Rogue GX, that still is fine. But if he has already announced Claw Slash, then...
Yeah, it depends what he announced, really. Maybe he just announced Knockout or Boom or something, you know. Not every time people literally announce the actual attack names. It's something that you should be doing, but it's not always what happens. And especially when Alex was so quick to make those actions, he was saying this, and Knockout, I guess.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's something that has to be discussed between the judges here.
Yeah, so it looks like the nerves are certainly getting to both of these players so far. I'm sure, they did have to kind of sit on the sidelines and watch. That may have messed with them a little bit, right? They've been full of adrenaline after just winning a top 8 match and then having to wait over an hour to play their next match. Could really take you out of your groove, throw off your rhythm. Yeah, I've certainly been that before. The lunch break is always the bane of my existence.
Yeah, sometimes giving yourself that little debrief and a plan before the game even starts makes you play a lot less fluidly with the hands that you're seeing at the time. So sometimes giving yourself that hour to sort of sit with yourself even, or discuss with friends how they've played through the matchup, sometimes that can actually be more of a distraction than going straight into your next game. Yeah.
So Alex just trying to explain what he was trying to do here. Obviously, he knows you can't attach 2 energy cards in a turn, so it was very obvious what he was trying to do. But I don't know. We'll figure out what happens here. Yeah, I mean, this was looking like Alex was in a pretty good position here, but depending on how this goes,
by the looks of things, Alex is able to take 3 prize cards here by changing his attack to the GX attack option rather than the Claw Slash. That seems to be the case, but judges are still going over it again with Philip here. Obviously, this is a high-pressure situation for both players, and there's a lot on the line here, so just making sure everyone's clear on what's going on is definitely something crucial that these judges have to do, and we do have to commend them for that.
Yeah, this is a very tricky situation. You see Alex desperately just trying to flip over his GX marker. Like, look, I'll just do this instead.
I can just do this, yes.
But there's also a weird bit of timing, If you attach second energy, I mean, are you allowed to even attack?
Sure, exactly.
This is a very gray area, and I don't know what else to say. But this has been an exciting tournament so far. It's unfortunate this is turning into complicated situation, but we've had some excellent matches over the course of the weekend, some great gameplay on display, and I'm sure we'll have a great match here no matter what happens. But, Joe, it looks like this is kind of the tournament where Pikachu and Zekrom might finally get its chance to get a big victory. What do you think contributed to Pikachu and Zekrom finally, making it to the finals of the International Championships? It's been played a bunch, but hasn't gotten a lot of wins or even finals appearances. What has changed?
Yeah, it's kind of been a perfect storm for Pikachu and Zekrom. I think the amount of controlling archetypes that we've seen in recent regionals and whatnot allows Pikachu and Zekrom to be more of a safe play. Maybe pick up a free matchup here and there where you feel like you're very favoured. And that's been a contributing factor here to Pikachu and Zekrom being a more safe call for a number of players this weekend.
Looks like the ruling has been issued, and Alex will be forced to use Claw Slash here for just 220 damage. And now he's saying, hey, I used Twilight Eyes.
Well, sure. I think on balance, Philip will take that.
Yeah,
I think he's not even going to argue it. That's just going to get thrown out of the way.
You can have that one
so far. So.
But yeah, the entire complexion of this game just changed. Now Philip can knock out this Lycanroc GX. Look at that. He's already got Choice Band and Electro Power, so you can just full blitz for the knockout and set up for the Tag Bolt GX on the following turn. The game is not over by any means, but Philip is now in firm control.
And he's also able to thin a few more cards out of his hand here. He can Nest Ball as well, maybe for some other targets, but it feels like he's only ever going to be using both of these Pikachu and Zekroms for the next couple of turns. But as you say, knockout guaranteed on board thanks to the Choice Band in combination with that Electro Power, and he could charge up even more energy with a full blitz here. And as you say, I mean, he's just in so much more of a prize lead in this situation now as well. Everything's looking good for Philip.
Yeah, the only awkward thing for Philip is he can full blitz here, but where does he put the energy? He's put that Thunder Mountain Prism Star in play. So if he attacks with full blitz and commits all of his energy to his benched Pikachu and Zekrom, it could get knocked out if Alex draws a Guzma and targets that down, and then he won't have the option for the massive Tag Bolt for 3 prize cards. And his Pikachu and Zekrom in the active spot already has 220 damage on it. So this game is now basically coming down to whether or not Alex will draw Guzma for the turn plus a trade.
Yeah, he does. Philip does know the 2 cards in Alex's hand. Thanks.
Here we go. Big trade for 2 cards.
Well, it's not Guzma. It's just another Zoroark. Only one trade is never a position you want to be in. Alex is just going to have to say, Philip, if you've got enough Electro Powers and other damage buffs, you're going to get over the line here.
Right. Yeah, he only needs
next turn.
1.
Yeah.
That or Guzma will do it.
Sure.
Even an Escape Rope would do it. So we're going to see the Riotous beating for the knockout. 3 prize cards now for Alex, but if Philip has 1 more Electro Power, there it is. Tag Bolt GX knocks out both Zoroark GX and Tapu Lele for 4 prizes, and Philip will take game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, he powered up the Pikaroms and just made sure that they were able to stick around on the board long enough. Obviously, a little bit of help there from a bit of jitters there from Alex. We have to say that's going to be the case. I think Alex was well in contention for winning that first game, were it not the case. But that is obviously something that we do have to factor in here. And whatever way the judge call was going to go, someone's going to be left unhappy there because it was literally a critical turn where the game could have gone one way or the other based on the attack. And it just happened that Philip was on the good side of that ruling, and he's going to be able to take the first game. Pikachu and Zekrom continue to dominate this tournament.
Yeah, and I'm not going to act like I've never played the wrong card from my hand before. I think that's a mistake almost everybody has made. It always feels so miserable, too, when you do it, because, like, all right, I got my turn planned out. I'm going to play this. Okay, I got it. You play it on your card, like, that is not what I planned in my head. Well,
we're here now, it turns out. Yeah, I've just put myself in this position.
So much for that.
Yeah, and a little bit unfortunate. Alex is, at least, he has time on his side. There's 54 minutes left on the clock here.
Yep.
And he's going to be going first. And if he's able to have the kind of start he had in that first game, getting attachments on the likes of Rockruffs, maybe a couple of multiple threats going on, he's still going to have ways into this game for sure. And we've seen, his game plan at least in that game one. And it was a game plan that could have seen him through winning that first game. So it's definitely the right approach, I have to say.
Yeah, and I think he probably knows it's still a good matchup for him. He was in a pretty good position even when Philip got a turn 1 full blitz. So if that's the case, I think he's probably feeling pretty comfortable about the matchup in general. It's very annoying to lose a game because now there's basically no room for error. If Philip just one game plays down Mars Shadow, uses Let Loose, and Alex draws a poor hand, that's it. He's out, and Philip is on to the finals. So from that regard, it is frustrating, but he's not out of it yet.
Absolutely not. Zeraora once again chilling in those prize cards. Alex kicks off what looks to be with a nest ball, as is often the case, and I think he's starting off with an Alolan Grimer as well. Philip starting with his own Mars Shadow. He just mentioned Let Loose being a factor here.
It won't be this
a
game.
lot less of a factor now, with it being stuck in the active position for his start here. And Alex has, like we say, that nest ball. He can start developing the likes of those Dittos, Zeruas and whatnot. He does have to be a little bit cautious of going for direct Dittos, obviously, because there is the sort of backup option of the Wobbuffet. So instead we're going to see Rockruff be his elected target here. He's also going to Pokemon Communication away and a Lowen Muck here to get a few more basics down.
It looks like another great start for Alex. He's going to go ahead and get as many basics down as he can, and we'll see if he can play that turn 1 Lily one more time. Does get the Ditto Prism Star down once again. He did not see Wobbuffet from Philip in the first game, so he might not know that it's in his opponent's deck, but I guess we'll find out. He does get the energy attachment onto the Rockruff. And
Lily as well. 6 new cards for him. He's just looking for a bunch of Zeruas at this point.
This looks familiar.
It's a pretty good start, and he's found himself a number of Pokemon as well. Another nest ball, another Zerua. He's kicked off to a great start here in this game too.
Perfect start, really. Not much more you can ask for. On your first turn, that's really all you want. Fill up your bench with basics, get an energy down, and then you're hoping turn 2 you get a bunch of Zoroark GX into play, start trading away, and if your opponent has put down Pikachu and Zekrom GX, hope to knock it out.
So yeah, he's going to go ahead and search out that second, the first Zerua, and then bench his second one, and simply pass it over to Philip. As we say, pretty much the ideal turn here. Philip has the escape board already in hand, nest ball for himself here. He's also clutching onto a Lily by the looks of things, and he has Zapdos as well, so he's got plays available as always.
Yeah, his hand is much less good.
Yeah.
It's not a bad hand by any means, but
Sure.
It's much less explosive. He can knock out the Alolan Grimer this turn. He's got the Zapdos in hand, along with the escape board and a Lightning Energy already, but it doesn't seem like he's about getting knockouts with Zapdos. He's trying to full blitz as fast as he can. So a Thunderous Assault on the first turn, getting a knockout, might be disappointing for Philip.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, seeing as though there are literally our previous international winning deck list was all about trying to just hit that 80 on turn 1. Philip saying, no, I want way more than that. I want to get 150 damage at least, and then get myself 3 more energy cards. Why would I sit here just doing 80?
So he's going to figure out what he wants to nest ball for. I think he wants to get Pikachu and Zekrom GX, but it is somewhat risky, especially if you're going to knock out the Alolan Grimer this turn. Then your opponent can simply send out the Rockruff, evolve into Lycanroc GX, and all of a sudden your Pikachu and Zekrom could be in trouble. Looks like he's eyeing up the Wobbuffet instead, perhaps trying to disable his opponent's Ditto Prism Star.
Yeah, always a tricky one, really, because as much as it does hurt Alex here, it also denies him his own Tapu Koko. And we've seen how vital it is for him to have explosive starts. Tapu Koko is such a big deal in order to do that. And now it's pretty much Philip resigning himself to go for a Zapdos attack by the looks of things, and reload his hand with a Lily here. But yeah, as we say, the Wobbuffet can be very awkward for him, especially with Zeraora in the prize cards for him. It's a really chunky retreat cost type Pokemon, so even if you're going to throw it into the active position so you can dance to the Ancients, you need to combine it with a Guzma.
Yeah, he does play a lot of Switch as well, so there's still that option. But yeah, it's going to be a little awkward for him, especially after drawing a handful of junk. He does get the Thunderous Assault knockout and does get the Zero Aura GX out of his prize cards, but now it's Alex's turn to do something. And this is kind of where the Zoroark decks can take over. And if you're Philip and you see the first thing your opponent does is trade away a double colorless energy, you go, oh no, this cannot be good.
He's holding on to a monster hand if he's trading away double colorless energy, usually such a vital resource. And yeah, it's definitely going to be a big turn from Alex by the looks of things. He's obviously got more double colorless energies that he can play this turn. He's looking to see how he can fill up his board to see if a Riotous Beating can take a knockout on this Zapdos. He's also got the potential for a Bloodthirsty Eyes as well. If he wants to free up that Ditto Prism Star once again, he could bring up the Wobbuffet and simply evolve the Ditto Prism as well. That's definitely something he could be considering here.
Yeah, I think that's a smart play. You can even evolve your Ditto this turn without knocking out the Wobbuffet, so might be a chance for him to get the Alolan Muck into play now, or even just have another Lycanroc GX if he wants access to that. Just going to see a Lily for 3 cards before he trades yet again. And he does have Ultra Ball in hand. Could have played it before the Lily, but I think he didn't want to discard yet another double colorless energy.
Yeah, that would be a little bit too painful for him. Looks like Alex is going to be getting rid of an Ace Roller here with another trade. And obviously it seems to be the case that Philip is not looking to take 2-hit knockouts. He's looking to take big one-shots. So whenever Ace Roller is going to be in his hand, looks like Alex will opt to get rid of that with trades by the looks of things. And now he's eyeing up this Ultra Ball. I think, like you say, definitely a temptation to go for this Alolan Muck, and also a temptation for a Lycanroc as well, potentially.
Currently, he can't even knock out the Wobbuffet.
Yeah, that's also true.
He might need Ultra Ball for another basic, and then with the Devoured Field, he might be able to get there. He does have 2 in his hand, but yeah, I think he wants to take a knockout here, so he's going to have to get Ultra Ball for another basic, but no, actually just goes for the Alolan Muck. Just going to settle for a 2-hit knockout on a non-GX Pokemon. That doesn't sound very good.
You're right, it is very slow for him, but I guess his mentality is, well...
Oh, he also has Rescue.
Yeah, that's also true. So he can reach, thanks to this Alolan Grimer that was knocked out last turn, and then get the Stadium into play to knock out this Wobbuffet. He's able to pick up Judge from his prize cards, which is a pretty sweet deal. So it's a nice way to disrupt Philip's hand even further, now that there's the Alolan Muck in play as well.
Yeah, this is a pretty miserable situation for Philip, though. Now with the Alolan Muck, there's no access to Tapu Koko Prism Star on his side, and his hand is just stone cold unplayable. He played an energy for the turn. He's got a bunch of basics he can play down, but he can't do much besides Thunderous Assault with that Zapdos, and that is not a full blitz.
Boy, did he need that Stellar Wish this turn. I mean, he developed the Wobbuffet in order to try and make it difficult for Alex to find the Muck, but he's now just having to retreat into it as fodder here, as he tries to get out of this funky hand that is just full of energy and Pokemon. A couple of Electro Powers, but he's so far away from an attack that life's awkward for him.
What?
Alex still going for a Judge, though. That's very bold. I mean, when you have a read on an opponent, normally it's so obvious when your opponent has no playables, and instead he's just going to...
Yeah, usually when they don't play any cards from their hand, that's a good sign.
It's really giving a lifeline to Philip here.
I mean, maybe he just thought his opponent was sitting on, like, Energy Switch, Energy, and some Electro Powers, but yeah, that seems bizarre to me, giving your opponent a fresh hand when they've shown that they have absolutely nothing.
We're going to see a couple more trades from Alex. That's what's even more interesting. He was doing the Judge immediately. He was confident that that was the correct play. At the very least, this Judge and a few trades has got him into another Rockruff and Fighting Energy, so he is securing his board state, but it's just having to use the Judge in order to do so is very awkward.
Yeah, and I do think at this point he is firmly in control once again. He's got multiple fighting Pokemon with energy on them. And
you know that combination we were talking about? He had? Now he does have it.
I mean, you've opened Pandora's box once you've given your opponent a fresh hand of 4 cards.
Oh my goodness. Energy Switch, Energy Attachment immediately from Philip now. He's also got a Nest Ball and Lily. Of course, he's got to be concerned about just going in and punching with this Pikachu and Zekrom with a Lycanroc and a Rockruff, both with energies ready to go.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to bench a third Pokemon because then
No.
Dangerous Rogue GX gets the instant knockout.
We're seeing Nestball.
I mean, he has a Lily in hand, so he certainly wants to play it regardless. It's just a question of does he want to get another Pokemon down to the bench, and he does. I guess you do need something to full blitz onto.
I guess he's just saying, I mean, I'm going to need to be on the better side of luck of things if I'm going to win this game. I'm a little bit behind, and one way or another, I'm going to have to hope that one of these Pikachu and Zekroms can take a hit just like last game.
And he's going to need to find a Choice Band and Electro Power to get a full blitz knockout here, or at least a Choice Band or Electro Power just to Tag Bolt for the knockout on the Zoroark GX, but
Nope.
How about just scoop up my cards instead?
He sees the writing on the wall for this second game. Alex able to level up this match here. One game apiece now, and it's going to go to this game 3 to see who is going to make the finals of the European International Championships 2019. Very impressive display from both players here. Alex seems to have calmed his nerves and is playing perfectly at this stage.
Yeah, I've been watching him over the weekend, and he has played excellently throughout. So no surprise to see him continue on to the top 4. But we've gone through 15 Swiss rounds, one single elimination round. And then for these two players, it's just one more game decides who gets to continue playing and fight for the championship title and who has to end their run here tonight.
Philip, for the first time in the series, is going to get to go first, though, and that can oftentimes, even granting you just one additional turn attachment, means that it's so likely that you can get full blitzing, especially his build. He's so happy with his 60 cards that he knows he has very high odds of looking for those full blitzes, so trying to put Alex on a even smaller clock, really, to win the game is a small advantage that he's got here.
Yeah, going first in this matchup is a big difference. Alex, in both games, was able to get down a Rockruff with an energy on the first turn and kind of set himself up for success, powering up multiple Lycanroc threats. When you go second, your opponent can do things like, all right, turn 1, I'm going to get all the energy, play my Lily, set up for a full blitz, and then turn 2, Guzma out your Rockruff that has the energy and knock it out. And that leaves you in a vulnerable position where you're like, I can't attack with Dangerous Rogue GX, and that's where things like Counter Gain come into effect, a card we've been seeing more of recently because you need to be able to power up Lycanroc GX in one turn, because if your opponent ever goes full blitz and then you don't knock out that Pikachu and Zekrom, they're just going to Tag Bolt GX and run you over.
Yeah, really, really important card, that counter gain. It's something that Alex is going to keep his eye on in this matchup. He does play Mallow to help find those key combinations in the right moment. So playing on the back foot, he at least has the options in his deck to make sure that he can try and have answers to Pikachu and Zekroms that are basically going to be bearing down on him from turn 2 by the looks of things, as long as Philip has a more reasonable hand here. And of course there's the added threat of a Let Loose as well from turn 1 on Philip's side. We saw how explosive Alex had those turn 1s, filling up his bench pretty much both times on his first turn, thanks to the benefits of those Lilies and multiple Nest Balls. And when Philip's going to Let Loose early, it makes life very difficult for Alex to get that combination of cards so quickly.
All right, Joe, one game to go. Philip is going first. Who do you think is going to win?
I think literally the fact that Philip is going first gives him a slight edge in this matchup. We have seen how well Alex has been able to, put up multiple threats against him this entire time, but I think having that added benefit of going first is a big deal.
Oh, we do see Thunder Mountain Prism Star in Philip's prize cards, though. It looks like both players are ready to go in game number 3. Not sure what the holdup is, but hopefully we'll get them flipping over their Pokemon shortly, and we'll get to it. I do see Alex has started the game with 3 Pokemon in play. That means he is much more resilient against Let Loose. Probably at least one Zorua and maybe a Rockruff. Whatever he can get down before Let Loose is going to help him.
Yeah, that's definitely a great start for him. We don't even know what those basics are, and we know that it's a great start for him. Just having them in numbers is always great for Zoroark, leading you towards larger Riotous beatings later down the line, but just giving you more options to trade. And even if they are the likes of Rockruff and Grimer, everything's good for him in this matchup. He plays these three Stage 1 Pokemons in his deck, and they're all good in these situations against the Pikachu and Zekrom decks that are so focused on Jirachi.
Yep, so we apologize for the slight hiccup here as we get something resolved on the stage between these two players. But here we go. One game remains. This will be the last game we are covering today from the Europe International Championships. After this, we'll be down to just 2 players, and we'll have a championship match tomorrow. And tomorrow we will have championship matches in all 3 age divisions for the TCG, the junior, senior, and masters. And then we'll also have the video game championships, also junior, senior, and masters divisions. So even though this is it for today, tomorrow we still have a ton of matches to show.
Yeah, and they are the cream of the crop matches, you know, the 2 players who have played their hearts out going through all these grueling rounds. And as you can see, every game is really grueling. You can see these players are really stressing out over every decision and making sure they put themselves in the best stead to win the eventual game and the series. So it's been, you know, a real marathon for both these players, and also in the lower age divisions for everyone who makes the finals. And it's a marathon that you really have to be faultless on for as often as possible to make your way to these finals.
All right, players have flipped over their opening Pokemon, and here we go. This is Game 3 of the top 4 here at the Europe International Championships. One of these players will advance to the finals to face off against Gustavo Wada. Will it be Alex, also from Brazil, or will it be Philip, representing Germany?
Philip takes a peek at his opening hand, and he's immediately thinking about sequencing. He's got himself Mysterious Treasure in there, a few other Lightning Energies, and he's also thinking, when do I weave in this Stellar Wish? Sequencing such a big deal for his deck, of course, because there's all sorts of things to keep an eye on. You know, the discard pile full of Lightning Energies, how quickly he can get those in there. Obviously improving his outs for Stellar Wish, and what Pokemon he wants to search out from this Mysterious Treasure. He's obviously limited to just those Psychic Pokemon here. He's going to go ahead and grab himself a Tapu Lele GX to grab himself a Turn 1 supporter.
Yeah, his hand did not look very good. A bunch of energy, I think Tapu Koko GX, and really that was about it. So he's just going to Wonder Tag. Wonder if he'll go for Cynthia, because his hand just was full of stuff he couldn't play.
Well, Lily is on the top here. It may be what he's looking for. It may just be that he's looking for his prize cards right now as well, something that you really don't want to slip on late on in the game. He's actually going to go ahead and find himself another Lily here, not noticing that it's the top card of his deck already. But yeah, Lily is going to be the choice here from the Tapu Lele, so maybe there are a handful more cards that he can play down here.
Yeah, he actually plays 1 Cynthia, so if it's prized, that option might not be there. It's not usually something you check for in your prizes. Yeah. How many Cynthia do I have in my deck? But if that's the case, yeah, look how many cards he can't even play from his hand. He's going to Stellar Wish. Probably needs to find an Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball
would be the biggest draw here off of the Stellar Wish. Looks like he's actually found.
Oh, wait, there's the... My theory is awful.
A skateboard is the choice. It at least makes life easier for moving this Jirachi. Not that he can attack this turn anyway, but maybe get into more Jirachi for future Stellar Wishes as well. Opening the door for a few better outs off of this Lily, but as you say, it's not getting him many cards here.
Yeah, I think just 4 cards if he plays down everything.
Yeah, even if he starts burning Energy Switch and whatnot.
Maybe 6.
He can't play both the energy cards, we know that much, but yeah, he really is burning a decent number. Holds on to the Energy Switch, but does burn the Electro Power. Simply to draw an additional card here. More more Jirachi in the hand, so you can have another Stellar Wish here.
Yeah, and on Alex's side, he does start with 2 Rockruff and the Ditto Prism Star. No Zorua in his opening hand, but we'll have to wait and find out what's in his hand if he can set up his Pokemon like he has in the first 2 games. And looks like off this second Stellar Wish, Alex does find that crucial Ultra Ball. And he can search for any number of things. He could get the Pikachu and Zekrom GX down if he wants to. Could go for the Tapu Koko Prism Star. But he kind of needs both Pikachu and Zekrom and Tapu Koko at the same time so he can put the energy on to that tag team.
He may even just hold this for options for next turn. I mean, Although Alex does play Judge, it's not often found on the first turn and not often used on the first turn because it comes with such risk for Alex. So he may just be holding on to this sort of hand until next turn because, as you say, he needs both pieces right now, and searching out one of them, yes, it could be beneficial, but you always have to be worried about putting Pikachu and Zekroms just sort of on the board just to have them there for future options. So instead, as we see, he's just going to pass it over, flip for sleep with his Jirachi.
Oh my goodness.
Alex's first turn.
Alex, his hand was completely unplayable. And he top-decked Lily for the turn and draws 5 cards.
What a relief. He must have been sat there. That must have felt like the longest turn ever from Philip.
His hand was like a bunch of energy, a pal pad, and just top-decks Lily for the turn, and he's got life.
Wow, that's
Maybe
incredible.
not much, though.
Yeah, I mean, the Lily hasn't been spectacular. There's an Ultra Ball there, I see. Not much else, though. He may be forced just to hold on to this hand for a stage 1 for next turn, or maybe even a Tapu Lele for next turn as well.
Yeah, I don't even think you play the Ultra Ball here.
No.
As terrible as that sounds.
You can't leave yourself with nothing. You have to give yourself the opportunity to have one more draw. And again, maybe it could be a lifeline for him again. But we're going to see what Philip can do here. Comes back over to him. He's going to wake up his Jirachi simply to send it to sleep again, more than likely.
Yeah, those sleep flips tend to be more irrelevant than not.
Looks like he's going to start eyeing up, again, that discard pile, making sure. Looks like Pikachu and Zekrom tag team was actually his draw for turn. That makes his decision a lot easier with this Ultra Ball.
Yeah, that's one of the cards he would have wanted to draw this turn. I guess Nest Ball would have been nice, or Tapu Koko Prism Star also would have been good, but he will certainly accept that gift from the top of his deck. Now he can certainly try to power up for a full blitz here and really put the pressure on Alex. Now he'll probably be looking for a Guzma.
I think there's already one in his hand already.
Oh boy. If that's the case, then Alex is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, dealing with that choice-banded and energied Rockruff. Guzma is sat in the middle of his hand right now. There's already Energy Switch, Energy Attachment, and the Dance of the Ancients available to Philip, so I've no doubt that he'll be using this turn to deal with that big threat of the Rockruff.
Philip still deciding what he wants to take from the Stellar Wish, ends up with a Mysterious Treasure. And boy, this is the difference when you get to go first.
How does Guzma combine with a Let Loose sound, Kyle? That sounds like a reasonable option. That's available to him now thanks to that Mysterious Treasure.
Reasonable to who?
Reasonable to Philip.
All right, so we see the Dance of the Ancients with Tapu Koko Prism Star. And another energy onto Pikachu and Zekrom, GX. We'll see an energy switch, moving the energy over to Pikachu and Zekrom. So now the tag team has 3 energy ready to use full blitz. Pairs it with the Guzma to go after that Rockruff that has the energy on it. He even gets another Stellar Wish. And like you said, we might be seeing a Let Loose from Marshadow as well.
I think if he can't find himself the likes of a Nest Ball for potentially another Pikachu and Zekrom here, it might just be a Let Loose, but we are going to see the Nest Ball itself there. And I think that's his best option. It lets him hedge a little bit, just in case Alex does come up with a crazy combination. Like you said, the likes of Counter Gain is always something in the back of Philip's mind that has to be a little bit concerned about and respect.
Yeah, Alex is absolutely going to be in a terrible situation here. He's not out of it by any means. He has combinations of cards he can draw, but boy, he needs to start hitting them immediately. This is the kind of pressure that Pikachu and Zekrom GX puts on you. If you miss one turn of knocking these things out at this point, you're pretty much going to lose. There's just going to be big knockouts every turn. Eventually you'll see that Tag Bolt GX knocking out multiple Pokemon in one turn. Of course, it's a very risky Pokemon. It gives up 3 prize cards when it's knocked out. But when it's unchecked, well, the game ends very quickly.
And there are 7 energies in play now for Philip. It's turn 2, may I remind you. And Alex has got himself a Nest Ball to kick things off, but he really is climbing a mountain this turn if he's going to get any big response here.
Yeah, I think he needs to find the Lycanroc GX plus Counter Gain, as you were saying. That's going to be the start of his comeback here. If he can pull that off, he can Dangerous Rogue GX for a knockout, but man, I don't even know if that's enough, right? Then the Lycanroc would just go down. What does he have after that?
Then it's him as well, just hoping that Philip can't find the likes of Electro Powers and Choice Bands to get over the line once again. So even if he is able to pull off the sort of miracle turn here with the combination of Lycan Rock plus counter gain plus energy attachment, it's still gonna, he's still fighting from behind somehow.
He's going to do whatever he can. Grab that Cynthia with Wonder Tag. His opening hand was not very helpful. Even after he top decked that Lily, he was not able to get any Zorua onto the bench, and he does get a Alolan Muck.
Wow. It means that he can't trade as well. He's only limiting himself to 6 cards here. Maybe he's just telling himself, well, Philip's got 2 Jirachi anyway. If this Lycan Rock is ever going to take a hit from a Pikachu and Zekrom, I really can't let Philip have Stellar Wish. I'll just be dead in the water anyway.
So these are massive 6 cards for Alex. He needs to find that counter gain. That's going to be the difficult card to find because there's no real way to search for it. Plus a way to get Lycanroc GX just to knock out this first Pikachu and Zekrom. If he doesn't, I mean, he can't even attack with his Rockruff.
Oh, he's not there. He doesn't have the monster 6 cards that he needed. Well, the monster 2 cards that he needed from this 6 card draw here. He might be just having to, well, are there even any stalling options he can go for here with Bloodthirsty Eyes, or I don't really know what else he's got here.
You can try to bring out Tapu Lele, but
yep.
Philip's deck is full of energy and energy switches. It seems very unlikely that he won't be able to move the Tapu Lele.
Yeah, that's very true. Alex is going to nest ball out another Rockruff here, but everything seems very awkward for him. Pokemon Communication, trading in a Tapu Lele, maybe for another basic, but it seems more or less trivial at this point. He could try and take a Twilight Eyes Lycanroc as well and remove an energy from Philip's active Pokemon, but instead just going to go for a Zorua here, replenishing his basics. But I mean, if this was turn 1, fine. This is what we're looking for, but it turns out Philip's already got 7 energy on the board, and it's really, really slow for him.
Yeah, he could bring up the Zeraora GX. Now that Alolan Muck is in play, it shuts off the Thunderclap zone. So even if Philip found an energy, he'd have to pay 2 to retreat. I think ultimately it doesn't make a difference. And he even has Switch in hand already, so this is going to get ugly very fast. If Philip can find Choice Band plus Electro Power, he can full blitz for the knockout on this Lycanroc GX. Get 6 energy onto a Pikachu and Zekrom and basically punch his ticket to the finals.
Philip quickly going for a Mysterious Treasure to lower his hand size. Looks like Lily's going to be his option. I think he's already holding on to Choice Band as well. He's actually going straight into the Pikachu and Zekrom, he's saying. He could have just gone into the skateboarded Jirachi, but let's just hit it off the Lily and end the game quickly.
No need to waste time, Joe. This is what's going to happen.
Here we go. Choice Band committed to the active. We're going to see, does he hit it off the Lily? Wasn't obvious there. Oh, there it is. Of course, of course.
There is the Electro Power. Now full blitz hitting for 210 damage. And Alex Silva's hopes are slowly fading away as we're going to see a full blitz for a 2-prize knockout on this Lycanroc GX. We'll see if he's got enough energy left in his deck to power up Pikachu and Zekrom.
3 remaining.
Sure does. And he's deciding where to put them. Going to go ahead and put them on the benched Pikachu and Zekrom. And we're back where we were a turn ago. Alex needs to find Lycanroc GX plus that counter gain to knock out the Pikachu and Zekrom on the bench now. Otherwise, it's basically game over.
Yeah, it's an awful spot for Alex at this point. So much energy, so many big threats from Philip. And as you say, threatening that Tag Bolt can take 3 prizes all next turn. Alex has got 1 trade here, but again, he's really, really just clutching at straws.
He does find Pokemon Communication, can find him a second Zoroark GX. He found Tapu Lele, but remember, he has Alolan Muck in play, so he cannot use Wonder Tag. So Alex is going to have 1 more trade here. He needs to hit a supporter. He needs to find Lily or Cynthia. There's no 2-card combination that works for him. He needs to find a 3-card combo. And that's not it. Alex extends his hand, and Philip is heading to the finals, representing Germany here in Berlin. He will face Gustavo tomorrow. Congratulations to Philip.
Yeah, incredible series there. Both players really showing what they're made of and piloting their decks to really impressive showings, really. It was fantastic. At times, players having to be patient. At times, there's just all-in moments in games, and you just have to be bold and say, this is my time. Either my opponent has the answers, or I'm just going to push through here. And in this situation, Philip was able